Good evening, everybody, and happy Labor Day to you all. The barflies that are with us, please make sure you tip your virtual waitress and enjoy your libation. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, Dave. Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day to you as
You
well.
have
However,
been laboring the hell out of this weekend.
exactly. That's the thing that I don't like. It's like, wait a minute. Labor Day is supposed to be the head bops. Oh, okay, never mind. I was thinking something completely different there, Sam. No, welcome, Sam. And if you're a barfly and you're in the lounge, please post that you're here and tell us who you are. It'd be nice. And apparently Tig Lily is telling us Hap Labor Day.
Hap. That's a hip way to say it.
So anyways, yeah, I mean, yard work, ribs, yard work. But I did manage to get some cigar smoking in there and some drinking.
Yeah, I really worry that you're going to forget about that.
Oh, look who's here. Take care of that, will you?
Rich! Good to see you, buddy.
It's good to see everybody. So how about you? What have you been doing this Labor Day weekend?
You know, I'm trying to remember. There's an art show here that's kind of up in the hills. You know, everybody thinks when there's a big earthquake that part of California will just slide off into the ocean. So between us and the ocean is a hill where that'll break off.
We're hoping. Sorry.
But up there where you can drive, it's a cool. There's this road where on one side you can see the bay, the other side you can see the ocean. But up there amongst all the tall redwood trees, there's an art show every Labor Day weekend.
And apes. And because remember, that's where the Planet of the Apes go in the movie.
Northwest.
No. Remember remember in the Planet of the Apes. No, not in the original Planet of the Apes, the newer version. Remember, there was a virus, and it got these apes, and they ended up living in Muir Wood. Isn't that close to you guys?
That's over the bridge.
See, that's my point. So you got to be careful. There are intelligent apes.
I need to watch this movie.
There are intelligent apes there, and they will beat your tail because they're taking over the world. No, you need to watch the new version. Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
I caught it on TV, not from the beginning. That's
okay.
The problem.
There's 3 of them now.
Really? You know, when I was a kid, I was into the original. Were they black and white?
No.
Planet of the Apes?
No. But what's one of the famous lines in that movie?
You
filthy, dirty apes. Yeah, Charlton Heston. When he sees the Statue of Liberty floating by or whatever it is. So, anyhow, I'm sorry, we digressed.
So we went to that Saturday, and that's fun because it's a fundraiser for the fire department up there, and I think the school. And
hi, Dreamweaver.
So they have breakfast and lunch up there, so we go early and get the pancake breakfast, and you're sitting out on picnic tables underneath the redwood trees, and then
nice,
and then look at some art and all that.
Oh, that's nice. Did you buy anything?
We did. Yeah, I got to tease my mom. We got her Christmas present there, and that's all she knows.
Oh, so if she's here tonight or she shows up tonight, it's a secret.
Right. Well, no, she knows we got it, but I like.
Yeah, but she doesn't know what it is, though, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it is a piece of art.
It is a piece of art.
So what are you drinking and smoking tonight?
Tonight, I was telling you, I did a tasting of Ardbegs, and I got tired of every time I opened up the main liquor cabinet, it was all Ardbeg in the front. So I finally got up on the step stool, put some in the back.
I have a question.
And we got Compass Box Flaming Heart tonight.
That's a neat looking bottle, but I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. You said you opened the upper liquor cabinet. So the main liquor cabinet. So I'm assuming that means there are multiple liquor cabinets.
There is an annex, but that's for backup unopened.
You know what? You've got a lot of.
You can only fit so much above the fridge, Dave.
An annex.
What is somebody calls it warehouse 1 and warehouse 2?
Yeah, you have to have a little code card to get in there. Boop. Okay, you're allowed.
Oh, I wish. Oh, so there's the. We'll get to the rest of your question. We got no plans today. We just got to let it roll, right?
Right.
So there's this winery in Napa that's a newer one called Davis Estates. One of my favorites, and he's from Tech. I forget what he did, but he's from Tech. Got his millions or whatever, and then bought land and start a winery. But if you got in early enough and were a member at the highest level, he had a tasting room down below the main tasting room that had the palm print access to
Oh,
it. So
wow.
you got your palm, right? I mean, you know me. Yeah, and you're the same. You were a
Oh, I'm a
sucker for
geek.
like
Oh,
the,
yeah.
spend $200 on this box of cigars and get a free $5 lighter. Free lighter, right? So that got me, I'm glad we didn't do it. Shouldn't have, but I'm thinking palm print access. I want that. All
Well,
right, what's gonna
remember at the TSC Con. Oh, and a reminder, TSC Con will be in April 2024 at Las Vegas. So if you're not signed up, please come and see us. We may even try to do a live show from Vegas. Well, we shall see. But remember, we were going to go to that it was like a cigar lounge bar thing, but you go through themes. Remember that? We talked about it last year. It was supposed to be pretty. You have to have reservations, and there was these special underground rooms and all that. It
Yeah, it
seemed
was
pretty
like a
cool.
speakeasy thing, right?
Yes, 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 yes. And we
Yeah.
never made it. We never made it.
No.
So anyhow, what are you smoking?
So I got to light it up. This is in Oliva, Connecticut. This will be the first one I have. I just got these in
You're
beginning
gonna
of this
like it.
weekend, and you said they're good.
They're very good.
So I'm looking
And
forward to
to coin a phrase of our upcoming guest on the 19th, you need to do a cut and a light.
cutting the light.
I am
What's in your glass, Dave?
I am actually drinking the very last of this bottle that you enabled me to get, the Lafroig 10 Sherry Oak Finish. It's now empty. And but the sad part about it is I did confirm that my Norland glass, the one Norland glass, is cracked at the top. So we had a small service and a burial for it out in the backyard. And so I'll have to get some more. But my cigar is the official cigar of the Drinks and Daves, the Metropolitan Ferriotego Host. But I have not smoked one of these in about a week. And wow, they are sweet.
So yeah, I mean, you mentioned on the last show, so we're going to talk about it today, probably a week from now, because we're excited because Tim from Cigars Daily is going to be on
On the 19th.
the 19th, and so I'm curious. I mean, I'm going to run out. We're going to run out of time, 100%. But I'm curious. So that one, the one you mentioned, that's the official cigar, because we both love them. It has the what? So this is the foot. This is not the head, right? What do you
No, this is the toe.
toe?
And
The
this
toe
is
of the
the
foot?
No, wait a minute. This is the toe. This is the foot.
Whatever.
I
The
got
mouthy
it
part.
better. Right. This is the front. This is the back.
We better not embarrass ourselves in front of this cigar expert. Anyway, the part that goes in your mouth is dipped in something sweet, right? The whole thing isn't flavored; it's just sweet.
The
dip,
cap.
whatever.
Yeah, the cap is sweetened.
So I'm curious about his opinion. I know his opinion would be like whatever you like. All that
Well,
stuff.
he has one. I gave him one.
Oh yeah,
Yes, I did give him one when I was up there last week.
right on.
So we'll see. I gave him that and the Black Swan because the Black Swan, he's an Oliva fanatic, but the Black Swan was a specific cigar that was made for Cigar Page.
Yeah. So we talked about this, that we're going to have more than enough to talk with him about, because when he's here, I hope we get somewhat of his personal background and his history of cigars, and then things that aren't personal to him about the cigar industry, but then some things that maybe aren't cigar related. Like I think he's a bourbon guy just by what I've seen in his backgrounds, but we need
Yeah,
to
I
talk
don't
about
see. Yeah,
that.
I don't see much Scotch in there, so he may be a
No.
bourbon guy. So maybe fanboy Chad will be here.
But that leaves us time between now and then, since we're geeking out, we're excited to talk about other cigar related things as they come up. So
Right.
my question for you
Yes.
is, when did you have your first cigar? What led to cigars for you?
My very first cigar was probably at a wedding. No, I take that back. It was probably a friend of mine who had a baby, more than likely. And you get, they hand you those 99-cent cigars. And that was probably my first cigar. No, I go back even further. I had a cigar with my Uncle Art in Pennsylvania while he was fishing. I was probably 8 or 9, and he had this fishing hole in Pennsylvania near Johnstown. And what's amazing about the cigar that he had, I think it was the same cigar that he had all the years that I went back there, because he would literally just put it in his mouth and, like that. And I said, is that a cigar? Yeah. Would you like to try it? Sure. So he unwrapped a new one and he said, make sure you inhale it.
No.
Well, I turned green, very
Yeah.
green, and threw up, and never had a cigar again until
And
probably
was
that.
he laughing his ass off?
Oh, of course, of
Yeah.
course.
All right. So when you actually got into,
Oh, probably while I was in the service, is when I first got into it. Now, I really didn't get into it as serious as I am now until probably 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And then in the last 3 years, it's like become
yeah, oops.
bad. Yeah. But I quit smoking in the meantime. I used to smoke cigarettes and I quit smoking. And so I didn't have anything for like 2 years. Nothing. Because
Yeah.
I was afraid that if I started smoking a cigar, it would lead me back to cigarettes. In fact, there's somebody in our barfly lounge that warned me of that.
Oh, well, no, that makes sense, right? That
Sure.
you would get. So let me ask you, because in theory, you get addicted to cigarettes,
Hmm.
partially just because of the action, right? You get used to that, but the nicotine.
Sure.
Do you get a nicotine buzz from cigars?
No.
I don't either, which is
No.
interesting because I've seen interviews with other folks that talk about the buzz, right, and the nicotine hit and stuff. And unless you're getting sick from it, I don't notice it.
Well, and I don't know, but you never smoked, right?
No, no.
Okay, so that you would be more apt to have one, I think, than wow. But no, but as they say, I quit smoking, but with cigars, I don't inhale. I'd never inhaled. I never inhaled.
No, I mean, I totally get what you're saying, but every time you said, as you're smoking a cigarette, quit smoking. I get what you're saying, right? You're not smoking cigarettes, and it's not
Right.
going in your all that stuff. And there are days that you don't smoke a cigar. I know
Right.
that, right?
Hmm.
When
Oh
you're
yeah.
working and it's a late day and all that stuff. So it's not like a addiction thing.
Well,
Anyway.
well,
Well,
we call
financially,
it a
hobby-wise.
hobby. And right now, I know that there's two people that are in our lounge right now that are rolling their eyes and slapping their head and going, "Yeah, sure, a hobby."
Your wife and
okay."
her sister?
Well, that and yours too. 8 or 9. I don't know if it was 8 or 9. I don't know. I was young. I was young. That's interesting. What Rich says is that he started smoking a cigar as a defense against gnats, mosquitoes, and assorted flying vermin.
Wait a minute.
Okay, I'm going to use that. Yes. Okay, that's why
I
I
was going to say
started.
that sounds like a good excuse. I don't know. I wondered that because it's now this. I've talked about this before. It's a season for the little tiny black bugs that'll get into your scotch if it's not covered up, right?
Hmm.
And you think, well, I'm having a cigar. That smoke well, the smoke only comes out every minute or two. Nice try, Rich.
Yeah. 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 It no. So tonight we didn't have a specific topic other than the fact that it's Labor Day, and we want to thank you for joining us on your Labor Day weekend. So the questions, and please preface it by either N Dave or B Dave, but ask us questions, and we will do our best to answer them as long as they are not going to get us number one arrested, number two in trouble with our spouses.
So,
What? Nurse Dave's mom had her first cigar with. Really? Really?
now
That's
I'm
interesting.
sure she puffed on it. I don't think she didn't sit down and have a cigar. I'm sure. I think she probably tried one.
Oh, wait a minute. You're arguing with your dad? Dad, your dad's right.
I'm trying. I'm trying to remember. And so this is retrohale more
Yes.
often. And okay, so you get him more hit from the nicotine. That would make more sense. And so I was going to talk to Tim about this because you can retrohale. You can.
Oh, I do it all the time. Yeah. In fact, I probably retrohale more than regular because that's where you get the spicy bread notes and banana bread and stuff like that.
I know, and I've tried it just a few times, and because I haven't learned how to do it, it's very unpleasant when that happens, right? Because you get too much smoke in the wrong place and then you start coughing, and it's just like if you were
Well,
to
but it's supposed to be a
inhale.
fast thing. It's not supposed to be a
Right.
slow dragon type out of the dragon nostrils. As you're
Yeah, but you
blowing
got
this,
to work that, how
no,
to
it's
get
it's
the
really you put your tongue here, here, here.
just watch me do this inside my mouth.
You put
Yeah,
your
okay.
tongue on the top of your palate and just
Uh, all right. Well, Tim can do it. Tim has a lot of smoke that comes out when he does it. But
yes.
on the few times I've tried and been unsuccessful, I get why you would do that, because all of a sudden there's this explosion of flavors
Hmm.
that you're not getting just in your mouth. And I would say you're probably losing like 80% of the flavor not doing that.
Well,
But
but there's a lot of people that'll smoke a cigar like this. They'll do this. So almost at the same time they're taking the smoke in, they're blowing it out. I let it roll around a little bit, which from a medical standpoint probably isn't the best, but
well, no. Well, and you can't get your teeth that nice dark shade of yellow unless you hold the smoke in there for a while.
I
So,
know I teeth are pretty white.
but before we went live, we started talking about grilling ribs, and I said, "Hold
Yes.
on, let's save the rest of the." Oh boy, good.
We're very close. Be nice there, sugar britches.
All right, so explain. So this is interesting because the way you explained how to do ribs, for
Hmm.
the most part, is how my parents always did it, and their ribs turn out beautifully every time. But it
Hmm.
was the first time for you trying that. So
Yeah,
so
very first
explain to
time.
the
Yeah.
folks what you did with your ribs today.
Well, normally I'll do them on the grill, but today it was hot outside and I was being lazy and I didn't know if I had enough gas, propane to finish it. So I was afraid that I was going to start the process. So we decided to do them in the oven. So I had Sharon had gone out and bought a big rack of St. Louis style, which are a little bit meatier and bigger than the baby back ribs, and they're known to be a little tougher, but the collagen will break down a little bit better. So I turned them over, peeled the membrane off the back, and then I had a dry rub that was garlic, cayenne, chili powder, salt, pepper, onion powder, and paprika.
I'm
And I,
waiting for Sam to point out that you dry rubbed your rack, but
yes, I did.
go ahead.
Anyways, so I dry rubbed that, then I put that back in the refrigerator for 30 to 45 minutes, and I turned the oven on to about 250, 225, 250. Pulled them back out and triple wrapped them in aluminum foil, and put them on a baking sheet with a baking rack. Put them in for 2 hours. And after 2 hours, came out and I had a mixture of apple cider vinegar and honey, and I basted them. And then after I basted them, I wrapped them back up, put them back in the oven for another roughly 2 hours. Pulled them out, opened up the aluminum foil, tore it, kept it open, basted them with the barbecue sauce that we like, put them back in the oven for 30 minutes, brought them out, let them not 250 C, Sam. This is America. We talk in Fahrenheit, and then let them rest for. No, I usually don't rub my rack in a circular motion, but that's for another show. But then let them rest for 10 minutes, cut them up, put some chives on it, and Sharon came up with an
Oh,
idea. Yeah, Sharon came up with an idea of doing, instead of a coleslaw, because we wanted something cool to go with the ribs. And so she is growing zucchini, and she got a huge, well, I better be careful how I say a huge zucchini. That may not be the best way to say it. But
larger than average.
yes. And she chopped it up, spiralized it, and made, for what I've ever had before, is a zucchini coleslaw. So it's got honey, a little bit of mayonnaise, raisins, walnuts, and some
Hmm,
other things, and mixed it up, and it was delicious.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had an excellent rib experience. You said they were fall off the bone, just how everybody hopes that their ribs are whenever you
Hmm.
get them right. And so that's been my experience with that. Like I said, my parents do oven, slow, and then you finish them off on the grill, right?
Well, I could have done that, but I was too lazy to go outside.
Yeah. Something called Sam's got a point. Was there
No,
beer
but
involved?
yeah, but see, I don't do that much beer anymore because I'm diabetic. So
Yeah.
So I rather
So
have
I
croissant
got
rolls.
I got this huge package of 2 racks of ribs from Costco,
Hmm.
and it already had a dry rub and all that stuff on it. And so several
Wait a minute.
mistakes along the way.
Wait,
Yeah.
I got to answer this real quick. Rich, mayonnaise, not Miracle Whip. I cannot imagine putting Miracle Whip on ribs. Although I like Miracle Whip on a bologna and cheese sandwich. That's it.
No, no, no. You did it on your coleslaw, right? Mayonnaise.
No, mayonnaise. Yeah, mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the ribs. Oh, that's right. I didn't put mayonnaise on my ribs.
You don't dip your ribs in ranch.
No.
Anyway, so I had these ribs, and the instructions said 15 to 20 minutes one side, flip it over 15 20 minutes on the other side. So we were going to do them when we had company over. Well, come time to make the ribs, I'm reading the instructions 15 20 minutes, flip it over 15 20 minutes, and then the instructions kept going, and then put on direct heat for an hour to an hour and a half. And of course, my time frame for when we were going to eat dinner was based on that 15 to 20 minutes per side. So for that meal, we had the sides all set, and we ordered ribs from Outback Steakhouse. Pretty good dinner. So we still got these ribs to make, right? So, so I'm doing the ribs per the instructions, and when it says do it either indirect heat, which these things were huge, I didn't have a grill big enough for indirect, or
Mm-hmm.
turn it way down, and I've got my thermometer probes in the
All
ribs,
right.
right? It's for up to 170.
195. Oh, 175. Okay.
So it's whatever it was. It's an hour to an hour and a half to get up to that temp. It was up to that temp in 20 minutes, Dave. And so I'm thinking
Did
here,
you have the probe up against the, well,
well, I
I'm
know,
going to
right?
say this,
Bone's
but
a
I know what
pot
did you have the
faster.
probe up against a bone?
Well, so I thought about that. I mean, so I took it out, put it in a thicker part, and all this. Everywhere I put it was at least 200 degrees. And so I'm thinking, well, if it says hour to hour and a half, how could it already be past that temp?
But what
So
was the
that's what I
temp?
deal with.
But what was the temp in your grill?
I don't know, 300 something. I mean, I left the top open to try to cool the thing down. But see, that was the problem. I think it was too hot. And then, I don't know. So it was a disaster.
That's
So I
okay.
think
You can. Well, see, and one of our resident barbecue gurus is here, Jerry, Mr. Fenster.
Jerry is an expert. The stuff he posts
Yes.
looks delicious. Yeah. And he does
Plus,
the
I
long
plus
smoke.
I don't think there's an Outback. I don't think there's an Outback Steakhouse close to him.
You don't have a
So
backup like that? You got to have it.
go and catch him. Hence the reason why the Canadians have poutine.
Poutine. Yeah. So the problem, yeah, the meat the meat was good. It had good flavor because of the rub and stuff. It wasn't fall off the bone, and we had so many ribs. Then that's the bonus. You can just go for where the big chunks of meat are
Right.
and just throw the rest away.
Well,
Anyway,
but see, the thing is, the one thing with pork ribs or beef ribs, whatever the case, you can always shred it up, get a tortilla, boom, you have instant burrito. That's the one nice thing about it. Because if think about it, if the meat is not, or if the meat is overcooked, it becomes carne seca, dry meat. If it's cooked right, then it's carne asada. So see, you can be an expert in Mexican cuisine based on how badly you screw up the meat. So
you
it works
people
out
came
great.
up with a name just for I overcooked the meat.
Yeah, carne seca. My mom used to. Every time we go to a Mexican restaurant, my mom would get a carne seca chimichanga. So number one, you have a fried tortilla stuffed with meat that basically tastes like. Well, it tasted good, but it was like chewing on sticks. I mean, it was that overdone. But
Meat jerky. Awesome.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is, but take the wins when you get them. I mean, like for instance, when you cooked, and I'm gonna murder the name. What's the name of the stuff you cooked on the skewers? Shawarma? No, that's not shawarma. What is it?
No, kebabs.
Kebabs. But the way you posted
Yeah.
that, those things came out fantastic.
Yeah.
So take the win.
Yeah. No, I want to learn how to cook, you know, other beefs. I've gotten okay with steaks on the grill. So again, but I still got to use the temperature probes. I'm not one of those guys that can like eyeball this stuff.
Well, have you done a reverse sear yet?
Not on the grill. I do that kind of when you do
A sous vide.
what's that, sous vide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can do the same thing if you have a gas grill, or just take your gas grill, turn on one side
Mm.
about halfway, and then put the steak on the opposite side. Put the meat probe into it, and once again, depending on how you like it, whether it be medium rare, whatever the case may be, get it to like I usually do. Like if it's a thick porterhouse or a T-bone, I'll get the internal temperature up to between 95 and 98 degrees. Pull it off, let it rest, and then turn up the grill to as high as you can get it, and then zap, and then perfect.
Yeah. So you're slow cooking a steak then.
Yes, yes, and that's
Interesting. You
something I
know,
only learned last year.
what's weird is that home chefs go to whatever extent, right? Like turkeys during the holidays, and the excellent example, right? Where there's 14 different ways to do it. Do you brine it? Do you not? What do you, are you cooking it? This and that. You go to like a hotel that has to cook 100 of these things. They all come out juicy. And right, and all they're doing is throwing them all in the oven at whatever temp, right? They're not messing around
Well,
with
but there's one thing that they have that you and I don't. Culinary
experience.
Institute of America.
That's it. That's it.
But
But
see,
because
I
I'm
don't.
thinking there's steakhouses, right?
Yeah, I don't
They
mess with
just
poultry.
sear in the oven, and that's it, right? And they
Well,
come out juicy and
when I was a kid, I worked at Pinnacle Peak, which was like a cowboy steakhouse, and they had these huge open pit mesquite grills. And the way you did it is, you had a chain and you'd lower it to different levels depending on
I've seen that.
on what you want. And so that's where I first learned how to cook a steak. And then, actually, a couple of guys on the forum, I think it was Jerry, that told me about the reverse sear. Fowl like chicken and turkey, I don't mess with because every time I do it, it just comes out dry.
Yeah,
I
you
buy
got to
that.
be quick, right? The other thing is that stuff will, you oftentimes use whatever that is you put on the grill that makes it kind of just like a flat top, right? You
Yeah,
got
it's a
a sheet of
copper,
something.
the copper something. It's a copper rollout type thing.
Sheet.
Yeah.
But if you're putting chicken and stuff like that right onto your grill, it's tough not to have half of that stuff stuck on the
That's
grate
why I use
when you
that.
turn
Yeah,
it
that's
over.
why I use it. But I also
So
go to the Mexican meat market and get the stuff that's already pre-seasoned and
yeah,
everything else when it comes to the
yeah.
chicken and stuff like that.
So P Beat, I've been waiting for you to show up, buddy. Because first of all, you're normally first with what are we drinking, and so you missed that segment. So throw that in there. But I do want to give kudos to Mr. Beat, that he sent us a few emails, and much to my lapse or whatever, I haven't checked our email for a while. But he did send one since the last show, I think, suggesting a topic that Dave and I decide we will do
Next week.
next week, and that's back to school. So it's going to be some of like your school memories and your favorite foods and classes and movies back then, all that kind of stuff. But kind of like reliving. I It's supposed to be glory days. I don't know about you, but I had a lot of non-glory days in school. But that's going to be our topic for next
And
week.
that'll also be our last Monday show.
Last Monday.
Then they'll be moving to Tuesdays at 6.
Yeah, mostly because we like the sports ball and football's on Monday. I'm kidding. We don't really care. But the other thing that PB mentioned, Dave, I didn't tell you this in that email that I because he took the time to actually email us. I'll address it. He mentioned about posting comments kind of as they come in and in order, because sometimes out of order they just kind of sound more smart alecky than they meant to be and stuff. And I would say part of it will be that once we have our own channel, that will flow better, and um, people will be able to watch the live chat on replay, so they'll be able to
Right.
get the conversation that's happening. I get what he's saying, but also kind of picking what goes in with the flow, and when we notice it, like when we talk to Tim. I know that our plan is because between Dave and I, we've got tons of stuff we want to talk with him about from the go. So we might save a lot of the comments and questions kind of towards the end, and so things like that will happen too. Where
Well, and we're in the process of possibly looking at hiring an assistant. Now, I use the word when I say hire, it's
we
hire.
don't. I mean, free labor.
Yes, free labor.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, if like I said earlier, if anybody has any questions for me or Dave, whatever they may be, go ahead and put them out there. Just make sure you say which Dave, and we will do our best to answer them. And there is not much off limits.
Can we talk about
Well, you going to let people
what?
ask a question or what?
Well, all right. Let's sit here in awkward silence until that happens, Dave.
Well, elevator music. Dun, dun, dun.
Um, Johnny Walker Gold labeled. Okay, not bad. Um, I did the Johnny Walker trial before. You get the whole series, and I do have to say I think blue is way overrated. 18 was my favorite. I got a bottle of the 18, but to me it's tough to go back from the single malts and the smokiness. And anyway, it's all right. I'm glad you're on board, PB, and it's better than saying you're drinking a big glass of Kool-Aid. So, Dave, are you allowed to talk about your future plans for where your cigars reside, or is that like
No,
a
yeah,
potent
no.
topic?
Well, yeah, no. I mean, there's two possible things because when I moved the recording studio into one of our other back bedrooms rather than where it's at now, I had two choices. One, I could take the existing humidor that I have now and put it up on a table so you could see it from the camera, or I could
Or
get
door
a
number two?
larger. Yeah, door number two is a larger humidor that would be self-standing and plus it would hold more cigars. So that is still in negotiative status at this point.
Oh, I see. United Nations type of stuff.
Exactly.
I got, but no. So you're doing a whole room
Hmm.
as a studio slash cigar slash. I've been punished, so I have to be in this room type of.
Slash music room slash yes, one
I
of
see.
our one of our spare bedrooms. Yes, yes, we will call it the cigar annex.
Wait, music room. So are you talking just a pair of headphones, or we get to do
No,
audiophile stuff?
I've got my guitar. Yeah, I've got my guitars, my banjos and stuff like that.
Oh, I'm
I'll be
so
playing.
gonna call you out on a live show to pull
Oh,
out the
absolutely.
banjo
I can
like
do that. I can do
Steve
that.
Martin.
Well, no, not Steve Martin. That guy
Oh,
is phenomenal.
so it'll be like row, row, row.
No, it'll be better than that, but
All right, in between. Well, that's exciting.
yeah,
I
I
hope
mean,
you
it's
get to do
probably
that.
about a year away because I want to get, and that's another thing we're going to talk to Tim about is if I am going to use part of it as a cigar kind of lounge, then I need to have a air purifier that is really good, and there is one called the
Yeah.
Rabbit Air that I want to talk to him about and stuff like that.
All right. So wait, before we get there's a couple questions coming in, so we'll get to those. But I have a question for you because right now you're smoking in the house and you don't have a big air filter. So why do you need one when you move
Well, because I'm
room?
going to have those instruments in there.
Oh, I
And
see.
I
All
don't want
right.
those to get. And not only that, but we've been talking about that anyways.
So Jerry's giving me a hard. So I posted on the shaving cadre. So I just got done switching a 8 foot wine fridge into a humidor for my cigars. So I emptied out my desktop humidor today and gave over the shelf space for all of that stuff to my wife to display other things. And behind that is where I kept all my pipe tobaccos and things. And so I never got much into my history with the cigars, but kind of my return to not smoking was through pipes, and then I moved on to cigars. But in the midst there, I collected up some pipes and some pipe tobacco, and I've got several unopened tins of pipe tobacco. I think 4 or 5 of which is unobtainium from a company that's gone out of business. And our buddy Finster here is a big pipe guy.
Did you hear
And
that? Did you hear that? I could swear I heard when you said unobtainium tobacco. I could swear I heard Jerry drool. I heard a
I
little bit of
think
drool there.
he did. So yeah, he's politely making the pitch for if I want to get rid of that. he's doing. So since I
Now
addressed
is it
that one,
now? So you got rid of. So you were nice enough to give that shelf space over to your spouse. That's cool. Now, so you moved the pipe tobacco, and you got your humidor. Now, where is the pen collection going now?
no, the pens weren't there. We actually have a full cabinet for fountain pens.
Jeez.
We've got one, not full. I mean, it's not 8 foot tall. It's maybe what 2.5 feet tall, like
Just for
next to the.
pens?
Well, it's got two drawers full of pens, but then you've got two drawers full of inks and empty pen boxes. And come on, Dave.
You no. You
What a-
realize that you just made my spouse go all tingly because I cannot have a pen in this house that's mine without it vanishing.
That's the trick. Is you need more
Yeah, but she loves
because
pens.
right, but then there'll be so many that they'll just be out and about. Right, she won't be able to hide them all.
I wouldn't be so sure about that, but
All right,
uh,
Dave. Do we want to?
yes, yes. In short answer, PB, yes, there is going to be a collaboration shaving soap and aftershave for this channel. That's all we're going to say right now,
All right.
but it's in process. That's all
Fair
I can
enough.
say.
Well, then how would it be? How would it be composed? I would just say it wouldn't surprise you once it comes out,
No,
given
and
kind of the theme of
you'll
our channel.
shave and you'll shave with it.
Right. Just stop buying. Ha! Here's a pin joke. Stop buying vanishes points. Your pins won't disappear. Get it? Nerd pin joke. Never
yeah.
mind.
But bump.
All right. Saturation pen. And this is true. This is the way. If you had 50 fountain pens, you're gonna find one of them.
Okay, I'm going to address this next comment because
Nope.
we don't want any biased from you. So let's look at this. The amount of hobbies that take up space in this house. ... I don't even know what to say. I'll let you address that in any way you want.
Yeah, I think that's it. We just don't know what to say.
Well, and what's funny is someone in here has been awfully quiet regarding hobbies and stuff like that, and I'm afraid that before the end of the show, there's going to be a large bomb dropping.
Just a joke, man. Yeah, what's interesting. That's a topic we can get into. Is so not across the board, but I think that there is a stereotype or perception, and not all that not true, that as you get older, your hobbies change and tend to maybe get a little bit more expensive.
Well, sure, for two
And turn
reasons.
into more
One,
collections.
we can't walk, so we have to have stuff that's within 3 feet.
Yeah. Well, so no, so do you have why as you get older, do your hobbies tend to get more expensive, and maybe how would you say that, involving more and more, right? Because you could have a hobby of, I like to use fountain pens, but see, that's the thing. If you have two, it's just a tool, right? It's not a hobby yet.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, and I've got to be, because to me, one of my main hobbies, which you know of, is probably from a cost standpoint more expensive than any of the other hobbies.
Hold on.
Go ahead, say it. Just say it.
Well, no, wait, because
Think
we were
about it.
talking about this a little bit. Well, because I think we would maybe have, if you're talking currently, month to month, it's probably not the one you're going to say it is.
Yeah, it kind of is.
All right,
Watches.
okay. Oh, yeah.
See,
right.
that's collecting on a whole different level. Cigars is probably my most active right now. Well, I can't say that because I've got to watch incoming anyways. Oh wait,
Yeah, but you had
You didn't hear-
200 cigars incoming.
no, I'm done. I'm full. See, that's the thing. Right now, I'm full.
No, you're
My-
not,
my-
because you had one. There's one in your hand right now. There's a spot for one.
Well, that's true.
So,
too.
so see, that's part of it too. Is your hobby one that you have consumables, or is your hobby like you buy? Like, if your hobby's mountain biking, you can spend a ton on a mountain bike, and sure, you're going to have to replace the tubes and all that stuff. But once you've got a mount, you're not. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I was going to say you're not going to have 5 different mountain bikes. I bet some people do,
Well, exactly.
but but your hobbying isn't necessarily that.
Well, but also when it comes to enabling, a certain individual that resides in your household blames me for everything that you have acquired. Not everything, except wine. I will not take
No,
the
that one's her
responsibility for the
fault.
wine.
So
Ah,
that's
we're
the way
finding
that
out some
goes.
truth now.
That's the way that goes.
So Rock Viper says, in typical greater than two equals hobby, two equals thing, but I only have one wife, so one equals wise. Well, yeah, nobody's going to argue that point unless we want to die.
Well, so here's the. I mean, I think we tend to talk about the same thing over and over. But one, obviously, there as you age, hopefully, you have more disposable income. And
Hmm.
so, if you were into, you enjoyed watches maybe in college, you would probably buy one or two, but you couldn't afford to have a large collection,
Okay,
right?
there's
Or
two things we need to discuss. Now you're more into pens than I am. I've got two fountain pens, and that's it. But here's one that you should take, and then I will take one after that.
I read that one and I don't understand quality wise equal to Italian shaving manufacturer Mondal. Because I don't know if they make pens. I've never tried a
Mondial.
Mondel. No, I've got a Monograppa. I've got two, and they're good writers. I really like the way that they're built. You know, we talk about experience, right? And so the threads are nice and smooth. Just screwing the cap on and off is kind of enjoyable because it's nice and slick. Um,
But see, with
and
pens
they're
though,
good writers.
pens is a huge rabbit hole for a couple of reasons. One, you get the pen,
Mm.
great. Then you get the ink, but you can't be satisfied with one ink of a certain color. You have to be able to get your cerulean blue or your Mount Etna teal or
Yeah, but dude, it's
your
so cheap.
well,
Okay,
yeah,
so think about how
it may
much
be
is that
cheap, but
cigar you just smoked?
great. Well, this one's not bad, but the thing is, it's
Well, no.
volume though. You know, I have a box of these that I know that are going to taste the same, but you have every not necessarily you, but people that are in the pen hobby have to get like at Christmas they have to have the Santa Claus ruby red glitter with evergreen color, and I see it and it's pretty. But the other thing that's bad about pens is you got to have decent handwriting. If you don't have decent handwriting, it
Well,
sucks.
it depends what you use it for. So you a couple of things. So that's what I was talking about buying disposable. So yeah, that cigar you're smoking right now isn't that bad because it's like what a $7 or $8 cigar,
Um, yeah, I guess that's about right.
right? So you can buy a bottle of ink for $9 that's going to last you forever. I mean,
Well,
it'll
that's
go
true.
away, but you're going to be able to write for 2 years with that versus in an hour, it's gone in a
But let me
smoke.
ask you this: in the age of texting and in the age of
Yeah, yeah,
computers,
yeah.
who's writing letters anymore?
Well, it's not. So,
So you're using it for
so that's a,
so you've got $1,000 worth of pens that you write one time a year for somebody's birthday card.
so first of all, don't belittle my hobby. I
I'm
have
not.
more
I
than a
no.
thousand. But
I'm trying to justify why I should go out and buy another pen. See, I'm trying.
so no, you know you're right because I'll tell you before I use them at work. I have a little case, and I would take several different colors and all
I've
this.
seen that. Yes.
But we used to have physical meetings. So, right, you go to a meeting and you get handed out the minutes from the last meeting and what we're talking about this meeting. And so there'd be stuff to write on. COVID comes along. All of a sudden, physical meetings are gone.
Hmm.
I didn't take fountain pens to work for 2 years. And then I'm starting like, well, I got all, just to your point, I've got all these pens. They're fun to use. And so I take my notes at my desk. I got a book of nice paper,
Hmm.
and I take notes in a book just so that I can have the enjoyment of using the pen.
Sure. And
Now,
I
the
did
other
that too. I did journaling.
that's adorable. We used to
Yeah, but
call it a diary if
no,
you
no,
were a
no, no.
9-year-old
If
girl.
if you're a guy, it's a journal. But the thing is, you write the date. March 2nd, 19 or 2020. Went to work, worked, came home, So after about a month, it was like,
It's like
this is
watching
stupid. Yeah, it's like
Sam's
watching
journals.
exactly. But with the pens, so I think we've done the pens, but this is a serious issue. This one right here really really bothers me, Dave.
Does
When
it?
when she says, "So wine has fallen by the wayside due to, I assume, other hobbies."
You really want me to get? So sometimes I feel uncomfortable talking about these. No, really, um, talking about these things because I don't want to come off as like I don't know, a snob or
Well, you're not. We
or
know that.
whatever. So as I said, we had an 8 foot wine fridge that I converted to a humidor, right? But we had two 8 foot wine fridges. So while we haven't been buying much wine at all recently, over since the beginning of COVID, we still have enough. I pared it down to one wine fridge, but we still have an 8 foot fridge full of good Napa wine. So it's not
Right.
like it's over. This is right. I need a shirt that says this.
And I
But
don't even want to. I don't even want to know what this means. I don't even want to know.
right, don't ask. Um, but as you are well aware, Scotch took over. Why? Do you remember why?
Well,
It's
I
cheaper.
remember no, but I remember when you first. I know that it started with you trying bourbons, if I remember correctly, a few years
Well,
ago, and
the
then
the whole
that tanked real bad because it wasn't. Well, it's
right.
bourbon.
Well, so the again, not to get into too many details, but at the beginning, so we used to be heavy into Napa wines, right?
Right.
And Napa wines are not inexpensive. And we
Hmm.
were members of 4 or 5 wine clubs. You're getting mandatory wine shipments every quarter, all this. So that's how you can accumulate that much. At the beginning of COVID, for various reasons, we had to move from the house that we owned into a house that we're renting.
Right.
And I had to decrease our expenditures, believe it or not. And so canceled almost all the wine clubs. And I got into uh, whiskeys with a E or without a E because they're much less expensive than wines. So while yes, there's a gajillion bottles of scotch here, if those were bottles of wine, once you pop one open,
Right.
it's gone that night versus a bottle of scotch lasts you quite a while.
Sure. Sure.
But they cost anywhere from half to, a tenth the price of a bottle of wine. So
Sure.
that's why
Well,
the yeah.
and the thing is, and I've said this on my shaving channel too. As I've said this, I've said, when people start talking about cost per shave and how much it costs, to me, I think the value of whatever your hobby is, and it can be wine, it can be cigars, it can be chess pieces, it can be whatever your hobby is. The value of that hobby depends on the value that it is to you. Now, if you want to go out and buy,
Bless your heart, Dave.
well, no, let's just say, for instance, in fact, I did
Yeah.
this on my video today, talking about Creed Aventus. Okay,
Yeah.
Creed men's perfumes or ladies' perfumes aren't inexpensive. I mean, for an 8 ounce, not even an 8 ounce, a 6 ounce bottle, you're dropping 3.5 bills. Now, for some people, they look at that and said, "Wait a minute, it's just a fragrance." But it depends. But there are, and I've got a few high end parfums, but I'm not even tickling the surface
You
on
mean a
people.
few hundred?
No, 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 no. I mean, I'm talking about expensive ones, real expensive
Yeah.
ones. But there are people that go out and that's their hobby entirely, fragrances or pens or and what's funny is people that are in hobbies of any type will look and say, why in God's name is somebody going to spend $1,000 on a fountain pen? But yet that same person will go spend $20,000 on a
Sure.
watch, because it just depends on what your hobby is. I mean,
Yeah.
and so I've never belittled anybody for what their hobby is. And what they spend on the hobby. Because you know what? As long as it doesn't get you in financial trouble or it doesn't get you in bad graces with your family, then, you only, and I said this again today, you come around this, 70 to 90 years is how long you're going to be here. That's not a lot of time when you think about galactic terms. So you know what? I'm not saying you spend all your money and be poor, but at the same time, if you're not going to enjoy your life, I mean, because I know a lot of miserable people.
There's a balance,
Sure.
right? And it's different priorities for everybody and all that stuff. I'm curious. So PB's been he's been posting some very expensive pins. I'm curious if he's googling those or he owns some of those because he also throws out some nice. PB's a high end guy that sneaks into our lowbrow chat here, I think, and because he's mentioned some good restaurants, some good foods, some good scotches. He's got some knowledge on him. But then uh, Major Rich pulls in with Boone's Farm, which is probably good for milkshakes or something.
A Thunderbird wine.
Thunderbird, yeah. But yeah, so
But
whatever.
but the thing is, I think there's also, when we're talking about snob versus somebody that just has hobbies, is to me a person who goes out and spends 250, 300 bucks on a bottle of wine can still go to Der Wiener Schnitzel and have a chili dog and a Coke.
Oh
That's a
baby,
hobbyist. That's a
oh
hobbyist.
baby. You know, uh, when we used to go up to Napa, right? You would, and we would try to hit new wineries every time we went. So sometimes it'd be two or three wineries where you're drinking this high end Napa cab, this heavy stuff. Almost every time we came back, we stopped at Burger King and got a milkshake and fries just to have something that you weren't sitting there, you weren't analyzing it. It was just sweet and good and just, kind of comfort stuff, right?
Well, to me, speaking of, boy, we really covered the gambit. It's speaking of milkshakes. To me, the best milkshake on the planet really isn't a milkshake, but the flavor of a Wendy's Frosty. Oh man,
Okay,
it's
you brought up malt before, though.
yes.
Would you
Hmm.
rather have a Wendy's Frosty or a vanilla malted shake?
Not vanilla malt. If you said chocolate malt, I'd say yes.
Chocolate
But
malt.
vanilla malt, no. I'm not
Hmm.
vanilla. No, it has to be a chocolate
Oh,
malt
Jack
or a
and
Wendy's.
sorry, apologies. Jack in the Box. It
Oh,
was right before we hit the highway home, so we could take the road trip and the Bay Area traffic with our milkshakes and fries.
well, there is now. Okay, let me ask you this because this is an important thing when it comes to milkshakes and fries. Do you dip the French fries in the milkshake?
How could you not? I mean, not
Thank you.
all of them,
Thank you. No,
but
not all of
especially
them.
when the fries are hot,
Hmm.
right? I mean, you get the sweet and the salty, and I mean, everybody had to at least try that, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. And that's the thing I like about the Frosty. It's the Frosty is thick enough, and they've got those big, thick cut fries, and you just dip the. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, boy, I haven't had a milkshake for forever.
But speaking of
Can't think.
Jack in the Box, now most people were going to probably throw up when I say this. There is nothing, absolutely
You better
nothing
not say
like it.
taco.
Oh, I am going to say it.
Oh,
Jack in the Box tacos. Oh, they
hey,
are so. We don't know what
whoa,
they are. We don't know
right
what they're made of, but that's okay. Jack in the Box tacos are incredible.
now. I don't know that I've ever actually had one because I've
What?
seen them, and I swear that they're a little floppy. Right? They're not crunchy.
No, they're crunchy. It depends on. Well, it depends.
Right?
If you go to the drive-through and get them and wait 20 minutes to get home, yeah, they're floppy. But
Yeah.
if you eat them when they're hot, oh, they're so good.
And all that's inside of them is this
Meat type
whatever it is.
substance.
Right? That's it, right? And some the
No, there's
tortilla
lettuce and
wrap.
cheese. No, there's lettuce and cheese and
Okay, so
salsa.
maybe they got the base level and then the deluxe. Do they? Is that the
No,
thing?
no, that's just a Jack in the Box taco.
All right, but
I
that's
mean, yes, mystery taco. Exactly.
they've
It's
got
a
a lot
mystery.
of nasty looking food at Jack in the Box though.
Well, their breakfast jacks are
Right?
amazing. Canadian
Really
bacon. Oh, Canadian bacon, egg on a bun.
better than McDonald's?
Oh, yes, I think so. I'm not a big
Mm,
McDonald's fan. I'm not.
really? Even with the biscuit?
No, no, don't like the
Weird.
biscuit.
Did you ever try? I don't know if they still do it. The Taco Bell breakfast?
Yes, I've tried it. The crunch wrap, the breakfast crunch wrap.
Yeah, you into
But
that?
I used to be, but the problem is when you have good tortillas like we get here, you'd eat a tortilla from Taco Bell, and it's like the Mission tortillas that you get in the supermarket.
That's all that's in our fridge, man.
Oh, no, no, no.
Well,
Okay.
what do you think Jack in the Box uses for their tacos?
They're frozen. They're probably made in Sri Lanka. I mean, who
Mm.
knows? But they're frozen. They drop them in the fryer and stuff like that. But we don't get those that often anymore.
Yeah, see, Jack in the Box is doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yes, it's a
They
slice of
just
American cheese.
I think it's just what you're right. It's probably all frozen stuff and whatever they can
Oh, I've
cook in
watched
a
them.
deep fryer.
No, I've watched them. They take them out of a freezer, out of a box. They put them in the deep fat fryer, lower them down. Then, when they're done, they have a taco rack. They open it up while it's still hot. Throw the piece of a quarter of a piece of American cheese, lettuce, hot sauce. Wrap it up, and off you go. Drippy, drippy, drippy.
Interesting. Like I've seen videos of people working at McDonald's saying they've got the drawer of pre-cooked burgers that are just, I
Hmm.
guess, steaming or warm or whatever. No, they're in water. I think that's the place that keeps them in water, right? To
Well,
keep them warm.
if I have a choice to get a burger at a fast food joint, it's probably going to be. I mean, we go to In-N-Out Burger every once in a while, so it's not bad. But Burger King, I think Burger King's okay.
Well, wait, above In and Out.
No, no, In-N-Out's
Okay,
on a different level. Yeah,
it
it's
is. You
because it's
know what?
fresh.
You know what really bummed me is that you get some, and I never really understood this. Burger King everywhere, McDonald's everywhere, In and Out only certain places, right? And they're super successful where they are. So why I don't know why they're not expanding. But there's Wahlburger and Whataburger. We
Whataburger
don't
we
have
love.
any Whataburger here.
Oh, Whataburger is so good.
We've I've heard Wahlburger finally showed up here. We didn't go for forever until
Hmm.
last week. I brought home some for dinner and thought we're going to find out what this is all about. It was awful.
Really?
All the hoopla about this and Marky Mark and
Well, I think a lot of times when celebrities start their own, whether it be fast food or whether it be, well, look at Planet Hollywood. That started out like gangbusters, and now it's and that's all stuff. But your lovely wife just said something that's really good. The egg rolls, believe it or not, the egg rolls at Jack in the Box are the best. They are the best. Oh, they're so good.
all
And the
right.
curly fries, and of course the curly fries.
We can each like what we like. A&W is a pretty good, but we don't go there very often.
We
But
don't
you're
have
right.
them any. We don't have them anymore.
No,
Nope, nope.
we've
A and
got
W root beer.
where you can still fill up your own root beer from
Oh,
the
you're kidding, really?
tap.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But they're combined with KFC, AMW
Oh, okay.
slash KFC.
Well, I think they're all owned by. I think Pizza Hut or I don't know who owns all of them. Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC. I think they're all owned
Yeah,
by one company.
yeah.
But the thing I like about In-N-Out is no matter where you go in the world, all the In-N-Out burgers taste exactly the same. In other words, their quality control is so good that it doesn't matter
Mm.
where you're at. It all tastes good.
So this is Jaro said. So I said we're A&W slash KFC. He said they're A&W slash Long John Silver's. We have a KFC slash Long John Silver's too. So those are all
Yeah, we don't have those
incesting
anymore
with
either.
each other.
Yeah,
And
we don't have. We used to have Long John Silver's. We don't have them anymore.
I'll tell you, boy, you walk into any one of those places, and especially the KFC slash Long John Silver's stinks to right because you got deep frying chicken and deep frying fish and deep frying shrimp all in the same. Oof,
Now,
mercy.
if you like that type of stuff, though, we have some local joints that are specific to Arizona. One is called Lucky Wishbone. Now, Lucky Wishbone is pretty much all fried, but fried chicken livers, fried chicken gizzards, the best fried chicken. And they serve it the old fashioned way where you get it in a box. So you have a slice of garlic bread,
Yeah.
fries, and then whatever
Well, it
whatever you're
sounds
eating.
like they're getting their meat out of the dumpster of the KFC, though. All the
What,
leftover
you don't
bits
like
and
chicken
pieces.
livers? Chicken livers are wonderful.
I don't know that I've had chicken hearts, and those are delicious. I don't
Yeah,
think I've
well, you'd
ever
like
tried
chicken liver.
chicken
Chicken
livers.
livers are good. And
Well, I
get
do. I like pate and all that stuff.
and
So
gizzards are wonderful. Although my wife thinks that you're chewing on a golf ball.
Wait a minute. Isn't gizzards everything that's inside, or is that a
Yeah.
part?
No, it's no. A gizzard is a part of the chicken that uses to crush up all the dirt that they eat. That's true.
That sounds great.
It is. It's wonderful. My wife does not like them. She thinks they're
Mm.
gross, but she loves the chicken livers.
Now she mentions this. We've never
Oh,
ever,
that sounds
since we've
good.
been together, have this. So I'm curious when we're gonna get some chicken livers. Although liver is supposed to be awful for you to eat, right? It's super
No, if it's cooked right, it's
cholesterol
wonderful.
filled, and no,
But
but I mean
it's an
health.
organ meat though. Organ meats are supposedly good for you.
Well, they're full of iron, but they're full of. See, this is what I was thinking. That I'm used to when you get a turkey, that you pull that bag out. That the bag is quote the gizzards, and I
Hmm.
thought it was all of that stuff.
It is.
You were
Well, you
saying
got the gizzards and the yeah.
right, but we were saying gizzards as a combined, the neck and whatever bits and
Oh no
pieces
no
are
no.
all the gizzards.
Yeah, but the gizzards are wonderful.
All right, well, so we're on this topic now. What other crazy ass foods
I
do you eat?
personally like peanut butter and bread and butter pickles.
No, so no, I mean, do you eat deep fried snakes or
Yes,
deep fried scorpions?
I haven't had the scorpions, but I've had snake. Yes,
Is
tastes
it any
like
good?
chicken. Tastes like chicken.
I bet it's more expensive, I imagine, right?
Yeah,
Less meat on a snake.
there's only a couple places I think in Tucson that you can get it. But they usually serve it as a it's like it's like in the South they serve fried alligator. It's the same type of thing. You batter anything and deep fry it, it's going to taste good. It doesn't matter what it is.
Oh, this is it. The giblets.
Giblets, that's right.
That's all the stuff, right?
Right.
You toss all the leftovers in a bag.
So
Well,
yeah,
there
I would say so weird foods that I've tried. Rocky Mountain oysters.
were they good?
Yeah. They taste a lot like gizzards.
Did you? Now, was it deep fried, like breaded deep fried, or
Yes,
just
yes, yes,
okay?
yes.
Yeah, but they're
And for
big,
the
right? I mean,
yeah, that you get two, usually two in a plate. So, and for those
steamed,
people that do not
steamed
know
in
what
the sack.
Rocky Mountain oysters are, those are the testes of a bull.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, of course
which
they're
is
not
why it
testes.
was really funny. You say you got a pair. It's like, of course you do. Fresh off the.
Octopus, I like. Octopus both fried and in salad. I'm a big sushi fan, so
Yeah, but that's not weird unless you. I mean, like you see the Japanese eat the weird stuff, or some of the Asian company countries where it's still like alive when they're preparing it. Right, that's a little
mhm.
bit much for me. Even if I were to like it served after the fact, to kind of see it dying right in front of your eyes, and then you
Well,
eat
but
that
if you
stuff.
go to a seafood restaurant and you pick, and you go to that big tank and they say pick out your lobster, and then what they don't tell you is when they take it in the back and drop it in the water, it screams.
Does it? Does it
It
really,
does.
Dave?
It does. It does. It squeals.
Do
Wouldn't
they
you
still do
squeal
that?
if you got? Wouldn't you squeal if you got dumped into?
Not for long.
Well, the one thing I have not tried, even when I was in Asia, when I was in the military, is I never tried blowfish because if it's not
Ooh,
cooked entirely
yeah.
right, it can get nasty real fast.
So some of that stuff, like that, just seems like it's a status thing, right, or whatever. I mean, maybe it's amazing, but like you saying that they deep fry alligator and snake, to me that almost sounds like a gimmicky thing,
Well, I mean,
right?
I think it depends on like my wife's brother lives in Louisiana, so crawfish is a big thing. Big tubs of crawfish, but also they have boudin, which is a blood sausage, and it's spicy and it's really really good. But yeah, I think it,
Hmm.
it it all depends on where you live. Some of the things that like we in Puerto Rico they have a thing called morcilla, which is typically a blood sausage. I mean, when you bite into it, it looks like you're a vampire, and it's delicious. It's absolutely amazing. Um,
All
but
I imagine is that tasting like iron.
well, it's got an iron. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It does have an irony a taste to it. Um, but Pantea just said something that I need to address. Popeyes is the best, yes, but the problem is
Blah.
Popeyes got no. I have a thing to pick on with Popeyes. They got
Yeah.
rid of their dirty rice. Their
They
dirty
did?
rice. Oh, yeah. Well, we don't have it here at all, but their
Oh,
dirty rice was out of this world. It was amazing. So,
no, they still have that. My thing with Popeyes is their service is beyond slow and they're always busy. So you go in to order something and you're waiting half an hour for your food. That's what drives me nuts.
yeah.
So luckily, here's a bonus of the kids starting to drive is they love the Popeyes, the chicken strips.
Hmm.
And whenever they say, "Can we have this? Can we have that?" I said, "If you'll go get it, I'll place the order, but I'm not going to go wait in that line." And yeah,
So, what are the weird things that you've eaten?
I don't think I've had weird stuff. What's the goose thing that was outlawed for a while? I've had
Pate?
that.
Goose pate?
No, no, no. Um, what is it? They force feed the young goose. What the heck is that called? Ponte will throw it the name in here. Uh, yeah, frog raw.
Oh, okay.
I can't say frog raw.
That's
That's
good.
good. I've had that. Um, I don't know bone marrow. That's not that weird. I've had that, and I love
That's
bone
good, yeah.
marrow.
Probably the weirdest
Um,
thing that I've eaten actually when I
oh,
was overseas, balut.
oh, what's balut?
Balut is fermented eggs.
Yeah,
It's
uh,
horrible because
yeah.
usually the eggs have been usually you'll find small chickens embryos.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's that was the worst thing I ever ate. And durian fruit.
oh, have you tried that?
I've tasted it once, but I can't get past the smell. In fact, when my wife used to go to Singapore for work, they literally made it illegal to bring it inside the hotel. It was that
Yeah.
nasty.
So Pontea mentioned brains and tongue. So there is
Hmm.
a Persian dish where um, they cook lamb and then like the whole head,
Okay.
and so they'll eat the eyes and all of the bits and pieces of.
Hmm.
And I think she'll tell me if I'm wrong. I think traditionally it's the men like get the head parts, and that's like a status thing and all that stuff. So her dad was making that once, and I've never eaten tongue,
Hmm.
and so he sent some tongue over for me to try, and that wasn't my thing. The one thing I would like to try, but I can't now because I'm allergic to shellfish, is a sea urchin. I'm very curious
Oh,
what sea urchin
oh,
tastes like.
Sharon does not like it at all. But when you get it in sushi, it basically is what I call ocean peanut butter. It's
Yeah.
got that consistency to it. I'm not a big fan of it.
Well, is that raw?
Yeah,
Because I've seen it cooked. I mean, I would.
yeah,
I think I'd want to try it cooked.
yeah. It's actually it's okay. But we have a big thing out here, obviously in the Southwest, and it's menudo, which is tripe,
Yeah.
which is intestines, and it's really good. Best
Wait.
thing in the world for a
Wait, wait, wait.
hangover.
Isn't that the stomach?
Yeah,
The stomach lining? When you
yeah.
said an
Well, there's
intestine.
well, no, there's it's stomach lining and intestines and stuff like that,
Oh, everything,
all
all
cut
the
up.
GI
Yeah.
tract.
Yeah, the way they serve it is you can either have white menudo or a red menudo. The red menudo is kind of a tomatoey sauce. The white menudo is kind of a chicken stock, and then they bring it out, and so you've got all the tripe floating around in there, and then they bring cilantro, onions, salsa, and then you just kind of load it up. It's kind of like Mexican pho.
Stew.
Yeah.
So is it cooked long enough that it's tender?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's not chewy or gristly or
Hmm,
anything like that.
interesting.
People
See, I
freak
would
out.
like to.
Well, people freak out because they think, oh God, it's intestine. There's going to be stuff in it. It's not like they don't clean it. You know.
Yeah, and I would like to try that without knowing what it is first. But so people that freak out about, well, you're eating this and you're eating that, I think we forget that almost all meat that we eat is muscles. You're
Hmm.
eating an animal's muscles. So
Hmm.
how is that any different than any other? Just that we're not used to it is
Right.
the only thing. But
Right.
but Jerry points out venison heart. So I would be curious because I like chicken hearts, and I was surprised by that. I'd be interested in trying the venison heart. But the other thing is that um, my grandparents used to hunt and deer, and so I remember having venison sausage once, and it being a little bit sweet, and it was so good. But that's not something you can get around these parts. Is venison really anything? Because there's not a lot of
Well,
deer hunting around the
don't you
West
have
Coast.
any? Do you have any meat markets? And I would imagine, being as cosmopolitan as San Fran is, they've got to have meat markets that carry
I'm
wild game.
sure. I'm sure you can probably find it. Not the meat markets we go to.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that would be interesting. I've never had like a venison steak or
Good.
anything like that.
Well, it depends on how it's cooked too. I mean, because a lot of stuff can be really gamey. It has. You can definitely tell that but it's also dependent on what they eat. Because
Really? It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
bees. Like this this deer was only grazing on wildflowers and
Hmm.
dandelions and yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess with me, when it comes to food in general, I nothing's off the table. I'll try anything. I mean, I like it all the time, but I'll try anything.
Really? Did you ever
Hmm.
watch that? There's a guy that did a show for a couple of years that was he just
Andrew
went
Zimmer,
around.
Andrew
Yes.
Zimmer. Oh yeah, we watched it all the time.
Bless his dude. I respect because there's a lot of stuff that the texture is the holdup, and he like reveled in weird textures,
But
which opens up.
what's funny about him though is he wanted his whole thing in life was to get everybody to start eating insects because they're the most. We could feed everybody on the planet and they
Yeah,
never go hungry, and
yeah.
they're a wild thing of protein. But what's funny, the one thing he would not eat is black walnuts. He thought they were gross. He couldn't eat them. Yeah,
Weird.
yeah.
Yeah, because he liked like connective tissues and stuff like
Hmm.
that. I know, and he liked like gelatinous things and
Talking about that stuff, like people that like certain foods. Oh, look at that, making a
Gary. I
deal.
might I might take you up on that.
That's like people that I don't like food that you have to work hard for. And to me, one of my spouse's favorite thing is Alaskan king crab.
Oh,
You have to work way too hard to get this much little meat. You're cracking and smoking and pulling out and to get a little bit of meat dipped in butter.
they got people for that, Dave. You
Well,
don't
that's
take
my
eat that
point.
stuff
I
at
just
home. You go to the lunch buffet on the cruise ship, and they got Alaskan legs just piled up as high as you can see.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But then you got to take them to your table and you got to crack them open and then you got to pull
Well,
the meat out and then, come on.
I thought maybe I haven't looked because I can't eat them, but a lot of places I've seen it looks like they saw like a little thing in the shell so that you can just snap them. They're like prepped for you.
Oh well,
Anyway,
okay. Well, that's better.
it's just Jaro says Anthony Bourdain would not eat McDonald's.
That says a lot because Bourdain would. I
Well,
like
dude's
that.
a chef though.
Yeah, that's true. That's
He's
true.
like, I don't want. Anyway, look at that. We blown past an hour with our lively
Okay, well
conversation.
let's see if we've got 5 to 10 minutes where people can ask us questions. Because
Dave's feeling lonely. Nobody's asked
no,
him a
well, actually,
question.
Jaro brings up herring. There is nothing like herring in a white wine and mayonnaise. Oh, so good. They used to come in the little jars, and you'd get a rye cracker and that
Yeah.
that pickled herring.
You know,
Oh,
so some of that. So somebody, for love of God, asked Dave a question while we're talking about this. But what's weird, stuff like that. If you didn't grow up with it or have somebody that knows what they're doing, you're not going to see that on a shelf and go, I'm going to give that a try. Right? You need to know, like you said, you need rye crackers. Well, up on the shelf, you wouldn't know that this jar of fish in a mayonnaise sauce, you should also get rye crack, this and that,
oh, you can eat it plain. I'm just saying that we used to eat it with rye crackers.
Yeah. Bourdain loved Popeye's mac and cheese. That's very specific.
I didn't even know Popeyes had mac and cheese.
You know the best mac and cheese, Dave.
Wait a minute.
You guys ever
Well, see,
do
I have my feeling, and people are going to think it's wrong, but I'm sorry because I
Kraft?
grew up with Kraft macaroni and cheese in the box,
There's nothing wrong with Kraft mac and cheese.
cheesy powder.
Yeah, baby. That's got a delicious artificial cheese flavor that, it's just like, anyway, if you go to Seattle to the fish market there, which is a lot of other stuff. By the way, you can see the world's first Starbucks up there
Oh
near
wow.
the fish market. But there's a cheese shop. Uh, Man, I had it in my head when I was going to tell you about this. I think it starts with a B. Beecher's
Mm-hmm.
cheese shop that makes some of the best cheese you can get in the Northwest. But they've got a flagship cheese, and you can get a mac and cheese made with
Oh,
their world famous cheese, and you get it right there hot, and you're walking around Seattle with your steaming mac and cheese, and
well, it's got to be good.
that's the
Now,
stuff.
is it a type of cheddar or?
Yeah, I think it's like a sharp cheddar. Yeah, it's a pretty strong flavored mac and cheese, but yeah,
Yeah, it's well, and that's the thing with food. I mean, each place has has its own regional things that are really really delicious for the people that live there. More than anything else.
yeah.
We don't get poutine down here. You know, cheese
Well, we
curds
don't
covered
really
in
get it.
brown gravy and.
Yeah. All
But I'll
righty,
bet you.
Dave.
But I'll bet you where Sam is from. Where Sam is from, they had some interesting foods.
You would think.
You know.
Well, I don't know, but they're also very, very, very plain people, right?
No, I mean they're hearty.
Professional. Rich, it's interesting you mentioned this because one of the people I like to watch on social media is a cheesemonger and likes to explain the cheeses that they're getting into their shops and how you cut different cheeses and the appropriate way to serve them. And this is what I know that there are cheese shops, but there aren't very many of them. But
Not
that's one
anymore.
thing I would love to have better access to because you can't not like cigars, bourbon, wine where you can buy a bunch at once and consume it over time. You got to get your cheese fairly fresh,
Well,
right? So
we used to have a department store, kind of a high end department store called Levy's, and on the top of Levy's there was a specific like a gourmet cheese shop, and then of course you had the Swiss colonies back in the day where you could go in and
oh,
buy, and in Puerto Rico. They have breakfast and then they really don't do anything for lunch except bread and cheese. And it's usually an Edam. We used to call it queso de bola, and you just eat 'em cheese and French bread, and that was lunch, and it was
that's
just good stuff.
that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam says boiled potatoes and cabbage.
Nothing
I
wrong
would
with
love
that.
that.
Nothing
But
wrong with
again,
that.
that's a very kind of plain, bland kind of stuff. Now, hush puppies is a
Mm.
weird thing because I bet PB means something different because hush puppies I am used to from Long John Silver's and they were corn. But I know
Well,
you
they're
can make hush
cornmeal, yeah.
with pieces of corn in it and
Mm-hmm.
they're delicious. But I think in the South, don't they have hush puppies with meat in them?
I've never had them with meat.
Crawfish and stuff like that? Otherwise, yeah, hush puppies are. It's like cornbread in a ball,
Yeah, just and deep fried.
deep fried, deep fried.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
we've covered. It seems like food is definitely a theme.
it's all right. Let's go.
Yeah,
Well,
see, now
so let me
I might draw the line there. I might draw the line here.
that salted fish stuff.
Yeah.
Hot and
Surstrumming? No, I don't think
yeah,
I could do that.
breaded corn belly. So the other Northwest. Do you guys have Tillamook cheese and
We've
ice
got
cream?
we've got Tillamook, Tillamook ice cream and Tillamook cheese in the
Yeah,
grocery
so
store.
that's of course on the northwest corner of Oregon is the Tillamook Cheese Factory, and you
Oh,
can go
okay.
through the factory tour and watch them make that. And they've got a place where you can buy, Tillamook ice creams you can't find anywhere else, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. The one
Anyway,
thing that cheese curds,
yeah, love them,
squeaky cheese.
love them. So I know we're preaching to the choir. Then we'll put this up here for anybody watching this that not only watching it after the fact, but watched it all the way to the end. That means
Mm-hmm.
you got to love me and at least put up with Dave. And that means that you should
Wow.
subscribe
Wow.
to our YouTube channel, right? Get the notifications. Help us drive this so we can put all of our content on our own YouTube channel.
Yes. Yes, we would really
And
like
and
to
then
do that.
And then think about next week. Next week,
Back to
brought to
school.
you by PB, back to
Yes.
school.
And
Right?
that will be
We
at our,
talked about
and I think that'll be at our normal time, right?
still on Monday. Yeah.
Monday at 6 o'clock. And,
What?
and then please mark your calendars for the 19th. Let me make sure that's right. Yes, the 19th of September, for our exclusive interview with Tim from Cigars Daily.
I got called out by Jaro's mom. There's no such thing as a meat hutch puppy. All right. I don't know what I'm talking about. Fair enough.
Well, I think we've covered everything, haven't we not?
Well, no, but we need content to save for the next year and a half, so we can wrap it up. So yeah, think about all the stuff. I'm sure we'll get on to school lunches,
Yes.
right?
Because
PE, dodgeball, those red stinky rubber balls.
and there was a dessert that nobody that used to come in the cafeteria that we'll talk about that nobody it had chocolate on the top and it was
Wait, we
kind
talked
of
about that last time.
I know, but see that's something that was
that's
only
what you're
available
thinking
in
about?
school. Yeah, exactly.
All right. What did you pack for lunch? How'd you get to school?
Did
Yeah,
you get
all
caught
that-
smoking while you were in school? You know, stuff like that.
Oh, Dave, you got a story for next week.
Of course.
All
Well,
right, buddy.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. On behalf of Dave and myself, thanks again as always. Please tell your friends to subscribe so, as Dave said, we can get everything done. And we hope that everybody has a wonderful remaining Labor Day. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace.